Have you ever felt deeply hurt when someone you care about didn't show up for you, or when they didn't meet your expectations? That pain actually goes beyond just disappointment. It can feel like a clashing blow to your very sense of self. The key to healing from this pain, surprisingly, has nothing to do about changing others, but instead it's about transforming and readjusting how you choose to perceive and how you choose to respond. Stick around, because today we're diving deep into the pains of expectation and how by releasing expectations, we can unlock emotional freedom and truly reclaim our sense of power. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Mer. I'm a spiritual life coach, yoga teacher, and energy medicine facilitator. And today we're diving deep into a topic that I think affects all of us, the pain of unmet expectations, and we're going to talk about how we can actually heal from it. Whether it's a loved one not showing up when we needed them the most, or a feeling of being let down by others, such experiences can leave us feeling unimportant and unseen. But what if I told you there's a way to free yourself from the cycle and to truly reclaim your emotional well-being? Keep watching, because today's talk is about how letting go of attachment and embracing vulnerability can be the formula needed to lead us to true emotional freedom. So let's get started. Why do we feel this kind of pain in the first place? Where does it come from? We all want to feel loved and valued by those closest to us, right? But sometimes when the people we care about don't meet our expectations, like missing a big event or not showing up when we need them to, it can hurt. But why does this pain feel so intense? Well, the truth, and this can be a hard pill to swallow, is that this pain really is all about expectations. We expect the people we love to show up for us, and when they don't, it can feel like our worth has been diminished. We think and believe that it's their presence which validates us, and that's what makes us feel worthy. Side note, most of you have already heard the saying about assuming, right? Never assume, because you end up making an ass of you and me. But even that definition can be changed into something a bit more mindful. So here's the thing. Expectations, which, let's be honest, is just a fancy way of saying assumptions, can and will tie our emotional well-being to the actions and behaviors of others. And when they don't meet our expectations, we suffer. This whole expectation thing can lead to something I think we should all be very aware of: codependency. When we base our self-worth on the actions of others, we end up giving away our emotional control. We'll talk more about this in the emotional intelligence video, so stay tuned for that one. Our happiness then depends on whether others meet our need, and that's where things can get really messy. But here's the thing. We don't have to live with this perspective as the unchangeable operating system in our mind. As Brené Brown puts it, "My life is better when I assume people are doing their best. It keeps me out of judgment and lets me focus on what is rather than what it should be." By assuming the best of others and releasing those heavy expectations, we free ourselves from the toxic cycle of blame and unmet needs. This is the first step in reclaiming our emotional power. Change the story you're telling yourself about why they did what they did, or didn't do what they should have done. Now, before you start harassing me, I know letting go of attachment isn't easy. It requires us to move past the hurt, past the pain of unmet expectations, and to actively choose, I love that word, to understand something deeper. The attachment to outcomes is what causes suffering. And Buddhist philosophy teaches us that when we let go of those attachments, we can experience true peace. As His Holiness the Dalai Lama wisely states, if you have excessive expectations without a proper foundation, then that usually leads to problems. On the other hand, without expectation and hope, without aspiration, there can be no progress. Some hope is essential. So here he just introduced the difference between unfounded expectations, assumptions, and aspired hope. There's a lot of wisdom and compassion in that. We can still aspire to meaningful relationships, but we must recognize that people may not always meet our expectations, and that's okay. The truth is, the more we release our attachments to certain outcomes, the less pain we feel. And this leads us to a place where real connections can actually happen. And this place is called, drumroll please, vulnerability. Deep breaths, everyone. I did warn you earlier that we were diving deep. It's easy to build walls around our hearts to protect ourselves from pain, but doing so also blocks us from the joys cultivated from deep, authentic relationships. Similar to the Love and Freedom video, link for that down in the description box below. Such relationships can be applicable to any kind of loving connection. It can be romantic, platonic, familial, professional, and so on. True love for yourself and others requires vulnerability. Brené Brown also beautifully puts it in this way. She says, "We are hardwired to connect with others. It's what gives us purpose and meaning to our lives, and without it, there is suffering." This quote highlights the intrinsic need for connection, not only to survive, but to thrive. Our human experience is defined by the relationships we form. Again, please check the Love and Freedom video, link in the description box below for more info regarding this topic. Denying ourselves the vulnerability to connect with others robs us of the joy, support, and growth that comes from being seen fully as we truly are. Brené also prompts us with this other enlightening quote. "When we combine the courage to make clear what works for us and what doesn't, with the compassion to assume people are doing their best, our lives change." Dr. Gabor Mate once said, "There is no such thing as tough love." That one rings loud and true for many of us. By suppressing our emotional needs, we risk more than just emotional pain. We put ourselves at risks of illness, mentally as well as physically. So, with that in mind, let's honor our own needs. Let's embrace our vulnerability and build emotional resilience. Now, I know you're probably wondering,
how can I start this healing?
Well, here are a few practical tools to help you start to release expectations and embrace vulnerability. First, try this Windtalker Method journaling exercise. Write a letter to the person whose actions caused you the pain. In this letter, allow yourself to fully express your feelings, whether they include disappointment, hurt, or anger. Whatever it was, just write it down and don't hold back. Don't worry, you're not going to be sending this letter to them and they will not be reading it. As you do that, remember Brené Brown's quote, "My life is better when I assume that people are doing their best. It keeps me out of judgment and lets me focus on what is and not what it should be." Take a moment to affirm that even if their actions hurt you, they were doing the best they could with what they had to offer at that time. This perspective does not, I repeat, does not excuse their actions or the pain you experienced, but rather it softens the emotional charge you might be carrying. Once you've written your letter and poured all of your emotions on that piece of paper, imagine receiving a response from them, a sincere apology or explanation written with compassion and understanding. What would that look like? What words of authentic apology would you read? This practice allows you to process your feelings, release the emotional weight, and open the door to healing. Here's another lovely and potent practice, and this one is one of my favorites. It's called gratitude anchoring. At the end of each day, write down 3 things you are grateful for that reflect your intrinsic values. These could include personal achievements, acts of kindness, or moments of joy that you created. Focusing on your strengths, which got you the experiences you are grateful for in the first place, helps ground your self-worth in your own being rather than external validation. Thank you so much for watching. If this video resonated with you and you're ready to dive deeper into your own emotional healing journey, I invite you to visit my website at windtalkermethod.com. There you can find more resources, read about my unique approach to such healing work, and book a personalized session to help you move forward with clarity and confidence. I look forward to connecting with you. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more empowering content. And maybe share this video with someone you know who would benefit from this message. Please remember, your worth is not defined by others. It starts with you. Embrace vulnerability. Let go of expectations. Do this and watch how your relationships and your life will transform. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Blessed be.